Followers are one of the big elements of this game that first got me interested in Beowulf: Age of Heroes. You might be a single hero braving the dangers of the Whale Road, but that doesn't mean that you're alone. As a hero, you've attracted a number of followers, devoted and skilled men and women who will aid you on your adventures. Every follower will come with a name and a number of tags, which are either gifts or burdens. These will affect what types of tasks they can help with and how much of a help or hindrance they are while doing so. Tags can either be permanent or temporary. These statuses can be changed when leveling up, which I will cover at the end of this video. Followers can use their gifts or burdens by activating them. Sometimes, but not always, activating a follower will cause them to become spent, which means they can't be activated again until after the hero takes a long rest. Anytime activating a follower would cause them to become spent, the rules will specifically say so. Followers can be used during or outside of combat. Outside of combat, a follower might use a passive feature to help the hero out. For example, a follower aligned with the old ways might grant advantage to a hero aligned with the church when trying to persuade an NPC who is also a believer in the old ways. Once in combat, followers take their turn collectively on the same initiative roll. The hero can direct them to take actions on the follower turn during combat, and additionally, the hero can use his or her reaction to activate a follower. Generally, this means that 2 followers can be activated during a round of combat. However, some tags allow all followers with the same tag to be activated at once, such as the Rescue Hero gift. Some actions or effects will force the followers to make a roll. Beowulf keeps things pretty simple here by not giving followers any modifiers to their rolls. Some tags might give them advantage or disadvantage, but they always just roll 1 or 2 d20s and the result is the final result. Another way followers are kept simple is by not having any hit points. Instead, they will make death saving throws when prompted to by their tags. Speaking of follower deaths, there are 2 kinds. A follower may be simply killed by falling overboard or at the hands of a minor enemy. Or they may be slain, which represents a heroic death and comes with its own set of mechanical benefits. A hero will gain an XP bonus to represent the wisdom and responsibility gained from having a close friend make that ultimate sacrifice. If too many followers are killed or slain during an adventure, it might cause the remaining followers to gain burdens, or make it more challenging for a hero to recruit new followers. As well, a hero is supposed to be generous, and should pay a fallen follower's family a were-guild to help them through their loss. Over the course of adventures, it is very likely that you will lose and gain followers. Some might fall in combat, decide to leave you to seek their fortunes with a more promising hero, or they might leave to become a hero in their own right. Most adventures in Beowulf will include a number of NPCs who might be persuaded to join you as a follower. Followers aren't limited to just humans either. A hero might encounter a noble animal that can be recruited, such as a raven or a particularly magnificent horse. Even a monster could become a follower, depending on how an adventure goes. As mentioned in my video on character creation, the maximum number of followers you can have is equal to twice your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. When starting your first session of Beowulf: Age of Heroes, the player and the GM should work together to create a number of simple warriors and potential followers for the player to choose from. Simple warriors are quick to make. They begin with 4 gifts: engage, rescue the hero, take a blow, and weapon bearer, either axe or spear. Potential followers are a little more unique. They start with engage, either rescue the hero or take a blow, an optional alignment gift, and up to 2 starting gifts. Starting gifts are marked with an asterisk on the list of gifts starting on page 90. You can also add a burden for narrative reasons or to earn an additional gift. A hero is not just a ring winner, but also a ring giver. At the end of every adventure, the hero must reward their followers with treasure. The amount to pay followers generally depends upon the number of gifts they have. This is not always as straightforward as it might seem though. Some followers might have burdens that require them to be paid more than others, and paying a follower with less gifts more than a follower with more gifts will cause the follower with more gifts to gain a burden. Or, if a hero is unwilling or unable to pay their followers after an adventure, then all the followers will gain burdens. Lastly, just as a hero gains experience and levels up over the course of adventures, so do the followers. At the end of an adventure, a hero can choose between 3 actions: transform a temporary gift into a permanent one, give one follower a new temporary gift, or change one permanent burden into a temporary one. A hero can make a number of choices up to their proficiency bonus, although you can choose to add a permanent burden to a follower to add another temporary gift to the same follower. A tag that is permanent is essentially there for good, unless the hero chooses to make it temporary. A temporary tag will only be there for the next adventure, and then that gift or burden will be removed, unless the hero makes it permanent. There are 23 burdens and 67 gifts included in the core rulebook, but of course the GMs and players could work together to create new ones. There is also one more way to gain an additional action to take when leveling up followers, and I just love this idea so much. A player can choose to journal from the perspective of one of the followers. This could be what the follower did during the last adventure, or perhaps what the follower does in between adventures. What a terrific idea to help flesh out a hero's followers and really make them characters in your story instead of just a collection of stats. That is all. You should now have your hero, a ship, and followers and be ready to set sail to adventure the perilous Whale Road. The next video out in this series will start to cover how the actual adventure in Beowulf Age of Heroes goes. The Portent is the first stage of that, and it is another element of this game that I really enjoy. But before that comes out, I will release my final landmark adventure for the One Ring. This one will focus on the Bardings, and I am really excited for that one as well. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.